can't believe that we're finally here. We're at the end of class. Class ends at the end of this week. Today we're going to be talking about revision, that revision journey that we're taking with our last project. Before we get into the lesson, I want to remind you of where you can find your original draft. So in the very first lesson of our class, way back 6 weeks ago, you guys wrote a writing sample for me. Now, in that writing sample, you picked a quote to agree or disagree with. So you're going to go back to that writing sample and you're going to find what you wrote originally. And then I left you some feedback as well. And you're going to use what you wrote originally and my feedback to help with your revision. If you can't locate your writing sample or your feedback, let me know. I'm happy to help you. One easy way to get there is to go to the Grades tab at the top of your course, go through your gradebook to Writing Sample, and then open it up by clicking on that blue check mark on the right. Let me know if you can't find it. I'm happy to assist you in looking for it. So I know that most of you are probably groaning at home being like, oh, revision. So my question, do you love it or do you hate it? How do you feel about revision? Personally, I love revision. I love going back and looking at what I've written and evaluating it and determining whether or not I still like what I have or how I can change it to make it better. So let's start by looking at some footprints. There we go. There are my arrows. All right, so let's talk first about what we're going to be doing. I told you where to locate that writing sample, but we are going to revise what we've written originally in that writing sample. So a lot of times when I go in and grade these projects for Unit 6, the project is either blank or the same essay as what you submitted in Unit 1 is present again. You're going to get a 0 if you do that. If it's blank, you'll get a 0, and if you submit the exact same essay, you're going to get a 0. Your grade in the first unit was based on your participation in the project. So to earn a grade that goes into the gradebook that impacts your grade, you need to revise the essay. These two things show me that number one, you're in a hurry and that you don't have time because you've waited too long to complete the project. Or it shows me that you don't understand the intent of revision. So definitely work towards revising this project using what I give you here to help you determine what to do. So obviously my objective, I would love to help you love revision, but I also want to be able to evaluate your draft for your use of ideas and content, organization, word choice, and sentence fluency. One of the really important elements to talk about is what revision is, and then we're going to focus on what the difference is between revision and editing. So revising an essay includes evaluating and refining the rough draft. So what does this draft say? Does it say what you want it to say? Is it effectively communicated? Writing is a journey. So every writer, whether you're J.K. Rowling or Stephen King or a student in English class, that journey is never really truly complete. We can always go back and change things and edit them and revise them based on information that we absorb over time. So over the last 6 weeks, you guys have spent a lot of time reading and evaluating different American literature and looking at different viewpoints throughout that history. So maybe your perspective on what you wrote in that first lesson has changed. This is your opportunity to revise what you wrote the first lesson to show how that evolution process has happened for your thinking. When we revise, we rethink our points and think, did I say this right? Is it worth saying? Am I saying it well enough? Will the reader understand what I'm saying? How can I make it better? So a lot of students say, oh, I just need to go in, throw some commas in there, correct my capitalization, add some periods, and I'm good to go. And that's not true. There is a difference between revising and editing. Think about revision as seeing again the ideas that you're presenting, rethinking them. So you're going to think about that main idea. Is it clear? If you're just rewording things, fixing some fluency issues, fixing spelling, that's editing, which is a very important part of this process, but it is not the same as revision. Revising is reworking the ideas themselves. Maybe moving, one idea from paragraph 2 to paragraph 4 because it makes more sense there. Or maybe your thesis statement wasn't clear and you revise your thesis statement, so therefore the content of your essay becomes more specific. The goal for the Unit 6 project is for you to reevaluate your ideas, add to your content, develop your ideas more fluently, and correct any mistakes in organization and conventions. So to add to your content, you can use information from the class, things that we have read in the class, to help you with boosting your ideas and taking them to the next level. What references can you make to what we've read throughout the course? What information can you include to back up your ideas and make them more specific? All right, here are some revision steps that we can go through when we are revising. First of all, take some time away from your essay. So obviously you've had a lot of time away from this essay. 5 weeks I think is definitely plenty of time. If you're revising an essay for a different class, let's say you write the rough draft on Wednesday, maybe you wait to revise it until Thursday. So you've given yourself some time away from what you've written so you can go back to it with fresh eyes. Sometimes if we revise right away, we don't always see some of those mistakes because we're just kind of ready to be done with it. So take some time away from your essay, even if it's only a few hours. Then think about the larger issues of the paper. Do you prove or answer your thesis? Is your thesis specific? Do you address all the components of your thesis? Has your thesis changed at all? So when you look at your writing sample this week, look at the thesis and think, this thesis is not how I feel anymore, I have to change it. Or this thesis isn't specific enough, I need to add to it. I need to make it more specific. Check your focus. Make sure that throughout the paper you stay on target, that you're addressing the components of your thesis and not like venturing off into the wilderness. You want to focus on that topic and not stray from that topic. So for example, if you're writing about China, don't include information about Costa Rica. Now, that's kind of an obvious example, but you'd be surprised if we just start writing. Sometimes our mind wanders and we include information that's not relevant to our topic or our thesis. We want to make sure that we are clear and focused from the beginning of the paper to the end. And then is your introduction a true representation of what your readers can expect from the paper? Have you included a good hook? Do you have background information to set up your thesis? Is your thesis, again, specific? Then is your paper well balanced? Do you address every element of your argument? And then do you back up each element of your argument with specific resources and information for your reader? And that's where this class can really help you. Think about what we've read and what we've discussed on the discussion boards to help add content to your essay. Does the organizational pattern of the paper make sense? And is your conclusion stimulating and thought-provoking? Don't just regurgitate your introduction and your conclusion. Say something new. Say something that we can think about that will leave us with a thought-provoking idea. Common revision excuses. I do my best work if I don't revise. No, that's not true. No one does. Nobody just sits down and churns out the best essay they could ever write. Maybe it's still a good essay, but it's not the best you can do. Sometimes I revise as I go. Okay, sure. Like I mentioned earlier, writing is a process, a journey. It's sometimes circular, but you still need to evaluate your essay before you publish it. I write and I revise as I go too, but if I go back to it a day later, I might think, oh goodness, that essay, it made sense for the first 2 paragraphs, and then I seriously got tired because paragraph 4 really needs some help. And then it takes too much time. I hear that the most, I will say, from students. It takes too much time, I don't want to do it. Well, that's a bummer for you, but if you don't revise, and you're not turning in the best of yourself, and don't you want to represent yourself the best you can? So writing is a representation of us and who we are, so think about how you want to present yourself to your reader. All right, so, get out of here, go back to the beginning. So that is overall the revision journey that I want you to embark on with Unit 6. So the other thing that you can do is make a list of all the things that you're revising in your essay to keep track of it so that you know that you can check mark those things off. All right, finish the quiz, revisit that writing sample in Unit 1. Let me know if you have any questions or need any help.